Hey, M3 family, it's your girl Samantha McCrae, also known as Officer Tony of the Sam Tony Foundation, here with you for another incredible episode of M3 Live. This is where we feature Black professionals to share their expertise with you, giving us all the tea, our beloved Black businesses to help you guys continue to flourish. So, with that being said, before we get started today, I want to make sure that we don't forget to share important news from Melanated Money Mondays. If you are a Black business owner, make sure you check out our new website, okay, and subscribe to join our Black business directory. Monthly subscriptions, $20 a month, y'all. Every single time I come on and tell y'all, $20 a month, you are missing out. That's going to be one of the best $20 a month that you could probably spend, okay? And if you want to do a yearly subscription, it's only $189 for the year. Now, moving on, after some housekeeping, I want to remind you guys about the crusade that I am on with the Sam Tony Foundation. Now, the Sam Tony Foundation is youth mentorship, but it's unlike any other. This is police-based youth mentorship, and we want all of our Black businesses watching to get involved on some kind of level, whether it's donating through the name of your business, or whether it's offering an opportunity to our kids, or whether it's just showing your support at one of our events. So go to samtoney.com, or you can text our administrative assistant, Abby, at 843-567-1805. Now, let's get into our show today. Let's introduce our expert for today's show. Today we have with us Adriana Richardson. Girl, did I say it right?
Yes, you did, ma'am.
Adriana. So, Adriana, we are excited to have you today. Adriana, you guys, is the owner of the business operations and consulting. Sorry, I'm fudged it up. The business operations consulting and technical writing company called the Lazy Millennial. I love that name. With her expertise, she empowers business owners to document their business processes, to duplicate their success, and scale their business. So, document, duplicate, and scale. All right. We need to get into today's show because I need to learn from her. I don't know about y'all.
I got y'all.
I don't know about y'all, but I need to learn from her. Okay, so our topic today is the importance of documenting and processes for your business. Now, Adriana, my first question is, how did you get started specifically with the SOPs and documentation? And if you'll kind of tell our audience today watching who has no clue what an SOP is, kind of go over that.
Oh yeah, I got y'all. So first, I'm gonna just kind of hop ahead. So this is a little background. I started my business back in 2018 as a virtual assistant. With that, I ended up scaling a good bit and turning that into an agency, and that is where all the struggle began. So let me start back. Standard operating procedures are the documented way of how we do business, and it is very much needed when you need an agency or whenever you decide to hire people inside your business. And although I did have some inside my business, they were not done correctly, and the way you need to do those correctly is to make sure you actually have a process and system of how you actually want to build out your business and not going with the flow. And I didn't do that. So when I was adding all these people in, they pretty much didn't really have like a direction to go in. So like we all were kind of like guessing. So like even on the outside it looked good, like, oh wow, she get all these clients, she's making money. On the inside, the internal process were breaking down, and I was stuck in the middle of everything. But my backstory of how I got started with that was because of that, and I had to backtrack. Like COVID was like the turnaround point for me. So like COVID, everyone got all this extra money, like the government's throwing us extra funds, and people were spending money on virtual assistants. But because I didn't have my own systems and processes in place, and systems pretty much is just, I didn't have a process. Like I didn't have a direction where I actually want to take my business in each department inside my business. So everything was just kind of like, we're going with the flow. We're just guessing each day. Every day I was operating, I was pretty much just guessing. So like I didn't have anything crystal clear. So there's that. And with the business, even though like, again, we were doing really well, getting clients and stuff, I was stuck in the middle of everything, and people were still coming to me needing help. Like, oh, I need to do this task, but we don't have this. Can you ask this person for this? And I'm just like, why do I even have like an agency and I'm still like the middleman for everything? So pretty much, long story short, ended up burning that down. And I was like, okay, I really need to focus on what I want to do with my business and what exactly I'm trying to do here. So I took some downtime, wrote up my processes, tried to figure out like a direction I wanted to go in. And once I did that and I was able to bring like a few people back in, things flowed so much easier. I'm just like, man, like other people need to know about this. So I started doing that with some of my clients. Long story short, they realized they didn't really need someone like me. They were like, oh, I just need to automate something, and they just kind of let me go. But overall, I realized like how clear, once we had like a clear process of what we want to do, like a clear direction, everything flowed smoothly. And I'm just like, why aren't we really talking about this in business? So I decided to kind of do the stuff on the table, test it out a little bit more with some clients. And then in 2021, I switched over to the Lazy Millennial, rebranded. There we go, that's the word. Rebranded as the Lazy Millennial, and I've been doing that kind of work since.
Wow. I forgot to tell y'all, Adriana, she talks fast. So
my bad.
If y'all got the TV on Netflix, turn that show off. If your phone is not on Do Not Disturb, you want to put that bad boy on Do Not Disturb, just go ahead and swipe down right now. Just hit that little button, because you are gonna have to use both ears and write fast or type, because you don't want to miss what she's saying. But homegirl talks fast, y'all.
I know. Okay, y'all tell me, just let me know, slow down or repeat something. I'll got y'all in the comments, because I get excited.
No. You know what, sis? That's perfect. You be you, because one thing about you talking fast, it forces us to listen. Okay, so that is a good thing. I'm kind of curious. This is not a question I was planning to ask you, but what does your shirt say? It says laziness what?
Laziness over hustle culture, because once you pave the way to laziness with better documented processes, you get to be lazy and other people can do things for you.
Says hustle. This is one of my favorite shirts.
Listen, yeah. See, I noticed that, but I was like, let me focus on the task at hand, because I'll go on a tangent. But I love your shirt too.
I told y'all I needed to listen to her, okay? Because I'm wearing the wrong shirt, okay? That's why I'm chasing my tail now, because I don't have documentation and systems. And so that's a really funny point, because basically what you're saying, Adriana, is that you can lessen the grip on your business without necessarily relinquishing control as far as how you would like for things to be done, if you have the proper documentation in place that will lead to generating a solid system. And we all need that as business owners, because we don't want to be having to be the main, like you said, middleman for our business all the time. The whole point of having a business, or one of the whole points, is to establish some type of freedom. And so
Right.
That's why most of us left our jobs and left our bosses to go into business. So, okay, well then that leads me to my next question though. So why is documentation and SOPs something that Black businesses should care about? Should we be doing delegation over do it yourself? Like what are we going for here?
Okay, so like I always tell people, whenever you are starting your business, I know a lot of us are already in business. So like whenever you start a business, we need to start thinking of the end in mind, because a lot of times like we see people like Black business too, like we're like, oh, they're selling out. I'm trying to think of a company off the top of my head, but like I can't right now. But the whole point of starting a business is to end up letting it go, whether it be to like your family, whether you sell it to somebody higher up, whatever the case is. The whole point is to let go of your business. So like when you have that mindset, it's like, okay, I'm not running this business not just for myself. So like, yeah, we started business maybe because we had to leave corporate or we kind of were forced to, but at the end of the day, like it's still a business, like it's something separate. So like we need to figure out like, okay, I started this thing, I use it for freedom or making money currently, but it's still a business. So figuring out the end in mind, and once you realize that you are starting this business not only for yourself, but also whoever is going to end up taking over, or if you let it die with you, that's on you too. But there's still gonna come a point in time where you're just like, okay, I need to calm down. I need to bring someone in to kind of like help me out with like maybe some day-to-day stuff. They still need to know that stuff. So like once you realize you are running a business not just for yourself, but also your future team, it kind of forces you like, okay, if you start looking at things differently. So like it's like, okay, what exactly will these people need whenever they come in? And Documentation is what they're going to need. They need to know that how you've been operating. They need to know how they need to operate. And that's where the duplication. Oh my God, I cannot say that word right now. That's how they are able to duplicate your processes with the SOPs that you have. And again, SOPs, standard operating procedures, how you do business. And we all have our own way we like to do business, right? Because I know I have my particular way. No Google and stuff can figure that out. But other people can't do that until we have it written down, because if you don't have your business written down, it doesn't exist. So like if someone can't duplicate something, if you don't have it written down, there's nothing for them to go off of. And I see it so much, especially with Black businesses. It's like, we want to scale, we want to do all these things. Like we have so many great ideas, but it's just like, I don't know if it's just a mindset thing or what, but like we hold on a little too tightly to our business. Like we don't think about like the aftermath. And I want us to release those shackles, because there is an aftermath and we have to do that. And we got to start thinking like that. So that's what documenting processes really helps you do. It's just like, okay, I'm not doing this just for myself. People need to know how I'm doing this stuff. So I need to make sure I write this stuff down.
You know what? That is so powerful. Because you know what? I bet you I know who does have an SOP. Tyler Perry. I bet you Oprah Winfrey has one. I bet you Steve Harvey has one. You know, and it's kind of like, it really speaks to me about that legacy standpoint, because with my nonprofit, I started it in honor of my father's legacy, right? And he didn't have the business. I started the business, but at the same time, it's representing our last name, his last name, my maiden last name, you know? And so I have to have what you're talking about, because this is something that I want to survive when I am long gone. Now that my dad's long gone, you know, when I'm long gone, I want this to be able to continue to run and continue to grow from where I started it. And us as Black businesses, we don't want to work and put all this time, energy, blood, sweat, and tears into these businesses while we're alive. And then something happens to us, even if we don't die and we're just alive and we're just not well, or we're not in a capacity to run around anymore. We want to be able to make sure our businesses can still go to the next level and still be able to take care of our families when we're not able to be in the midst of it all. And that's so important. I kind of think of it almost like a power of attorney, but for our business, you know, and it's like, it tells whoever is coming in exactly how everything is supposed to run to our liking, and for it to be able to grow. And that's so important, man. So I guess my last question for you would be, what makes the most sense when it comes to SOPs and documenting? How, as far as like doing it correctly, how do you know when you've done it right?
Okay, so I like to teach a different method because it gets really confusing this part. So like with documenting processes, with that, all you're doing is simply writing things down. So like documenting processes is kind of like the brain dump, and like you're mapping things out and the visualization, all that stuff. SOPs are stuff that you actually tested, like maybe you work with somebody to get in order, or you came up with it yourself, especially like frameworks and stuff. That's really good too. Maybe not the whole framework, but you could document that stuff in case you try to franchise or license it out. But anyway, so like we have the documented processes. This is where you write out everything, and this doesn't necessarily have to be organized or anything, but you know you're doing that right when you're able to refer back to it. It's like, okay, I know I did this last month. Let me check back and see what I did and see what's working. Like if you're able to go back to what you actually wrote down and measure out to see like, okay, this worked. Like I was promoting this on Facebook, maybe it didn't work. It seemed like it did better on LinkedIn. You're able to track a lot better. So that's a surefire way you're able to do that. And then with the SOPs, this is where you actually have like a process in place. So like you have a way that you like something done and you want someone else to duplicate it or to mimic it. So that's what SOPs come from. And then with those, how you can tell those are working is if people are leaving you alone, like your stuff is getting done the right way. So like I say social media a lot because everybody wants social media. They want marketing, they want sales. So like when people are able to mimic what you have written out, like the process for that, that's how you can tell it's working. Like it's being done, you see the benefits of it, and especially if it's multiple people doing it for you. So like you're making extra revenue in your company, all that stuff. So like all the positive stuff starts forming out. But mainly the main thing I always like to sell for the Lazy Millennial is freedom. So like if you know you got extra time to do stuff, that's how you know your processes are working.
That's awesome. That's mind blowing. That's mind blowing because in my mind, hearing you talk about that, yeah, that's kind of a surefire way of knowing.
Yeah.
Because if you have to constantly interject yourself, then that means that your process is not thorough enough. You're missing something, and you need to figure out how to interject that and not yourself, so that it can run without you. And I'm assuming, if you were to give, like, I know this question is not necessarily, but like, if you were to give an example of like a specific thing that you could document, one of the things I kind of think about, and like, you can let me know if I'm right or wrong about this, is like, when it comes to delegating work, hiring employees, you may want to document the roles, the responsibilities of what each employee is supposed to do, kind of like you would see on like a job board, but then also document how those roles are to be carried out, and exactly, like, almost like a training manual. So everything from the job posting and what a job entails to the actual training manual of how to do XYZ. Like, and that where, even with that, you can kind of really fit people to the positions correctly and really determine what your business needs. It might be a shocker for you when you start writing stuff down.
Yeah.
What actually is what. Am I tracking you right?
No, that's exactly it. And I was like, the organizational development, departmentalization, that's exactly what that is. And that's actually how I teach people to start documenting their processes. It's like, we know we got our marketing, we know we need sales, we got the basics, we know we need HR. A lot of people forget that, but we need it. Just all that stuff, and even like day-to-day operations. But the day-to-day operations honestly comes from like the main components. Like, we know we need to market. Let me figure out what I'm gonna market at. I know I need to make money. Let me figure out what the sales are gonna come from. And once you start writing that stuff out, then, because it's like you're doing all the roles right now, but the whole point is to fill in those gaps. So it's like, as you're writing things down, you're also filling it for your future marketer, your future sales rep, or whatever you're doing. So you got it. That's exactly it.
Wow. Well, guys, I know there's a lot of people watching this that's just like, I have no clue where to start. I don't even use a pen and paper anymore. I don't even know, and I type with one finger, so I don't know how I would ever get this done. Then y'all need to hit your girl up to, ASAP, like yesterday, because she clearly knows this stuff front and back, and obviously seems like she can get us all the way together. So if this was a lot for you, you probably just need to hit sis up.
Yeah, it's a lot.
And so I am so thankful that you joined us for today's segment, and I got a lot out of it, and I'm sure everybody watching did. So we want to thank you for joining us, and thank you for your expertise and your time. Are there any final remarks or anything you want to share with our family before you go?
Yeah, I definitely want to say, definitely start documenting your process if you haven't already. And I always tell people, just start with just the very basic, like, you got stuff to do tomorrow, just make your little checklist, like I'm doing, checking my email, I'm about to come on Facebook, Instagram, all that stuff, and then figure out how often you're spending time on them, and kind of just going from there. Like, what exactly are you doing there? Just take a little note. Doesn't have to be perfect. So I was going to say, document your process.
That's a good one too. That's a good one. I think there's a way on Facebook or either on our phones where it'll tell you how much time you're spending on certain apps and how much time you're spending specifically on Facebook. And that would probably be a shocker to a lot of us watching this.
Yeah, I learned the hard way, and I set a timer to get myself off.
It's hard, especially when you're marketing on social media. It's really hard. So, but that's another topic for another day.
Right.
Well, fantastic. Well, I'm so glad that our viewers got, I'm sure, a lot from today's segment. That's all the time that we have for you guys. We will see you guys on our next segment for another brilliant discussion with our Black entrepreneurs and Black experts. Thank you for everyone that's tuning in. We want you to keep the discussion going in the comments. If you have a question for our speaker today, you make sure you drop them in the comments. I'm sure Adriana is going to follow back up and answer any questions that you have. But we also want you guys to share this show. So we don't want anybody missing out. We really take very intentional practices to bring y'all some really great content to help you take your businesses to the next level. So definitely share. And that is all for today. So this is Samantha McCrae signing off.
Bye.